Hey y'all, I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk a little bit about rhetorical analysis. And what I want to do is kind of introduce it to you, but also show you how it's going to work in your paper. So the first thing we have to do is we have to start looking at some definitions of some words. It may be that you've never heard of rhetoric or rhetorical analysis at all, so hopefully after this you'll be a lot more familiar with it. Okay, so what is rhetoric? I got this definition from a composition book, and so this definition says it's the art of using language effectively in speech and writing. That is definitely true when you're just talking about speech and writing, but we are looking at an advertisement, so I would add a little bit that it's also true for visuals. And I think also when we see effectively, especially for advertising, what are they trying to persuade you to believe? Okay? And so we're going to talk about this a lot, and I want to kind of move on and show you how it works for advertising. So, a rhetorical analysis can focus on a visual text, an audio text. It can look at a video. There's so many things that it can look at. You can look at a song. And so basically, you're going to take a closer look at how the artist or the author, that's a big word there, the author tries to communicate their ideas. Okay? And so different things that the author can use, and these are really more specifically to advertising. They can use words, obviously. Images, that's going to be a big one. Fonts, shapes, colors, believe it or not, and then even background colors. So, and they do this to try to persuade their kind of target audience to have a particular reaction about their particular message. So keep that in your mind there. Okay, so whenever we look at this paper, I want you to think of basically, this is how your paragraphs are going to be broken down. You're going to have a paragraph about author, audience, purpose. I would say that's one. And all three of those things are the rhetorical situation. And then you're going to look at three more rhetorical appeals: ethos, pathos, logos. And now, they're each going to be separate paragraphs. And you may say, I don't know what these are. Well, we'll get there. And I want you to know that just tidbit of information. Where did these words come from? Ethos, pathos, logos. Well, they come from Aristotle, and they're Greek words, and we can figure it out in English probably pretty easy, so don't stress too much. Okay, so I want to look at rhetorical situation, and those are author, audience, purpose. And I have this little graph that I found online, but I thought it was really interesting because what we're looking at is Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And so our author, Martin Luther King. And our audience, well, those were the people who were out there watching the speech. And obviously I think there's probably, we could pick through that and say there's more to it, but right now we're just saying that. And then the purpose was to, and we know it was the I Have a Dream speech, was to demand racial equality. So we have our author, our audience, and our purpose. And I definitely think we could analyze our audience a little bit more, but I'll save that for later. Okay, and so authors are human beings most of the time, and whenever we look at ads, we're going to say that there is definitely one author, but there's also a corporation that's trying to sell you a product. And so I want you to make an educated assumption. So if you say that your author is Target stores, you've got an ad for Target, I would say, tell me what you know about Target without having to look them up. We know they're probably a leading retailer in America, and they sell many different kinds of products. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I look at author. Okay? And so that one's easier to me. This one's harder. The audience, and like that's what I said whenever we could look deeper at that audience for Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. So there's a couple things. It's a really kind of loose term, and it refers to whoever's receiving the information. But think about this. Even though there are many kinds of people who could receive the information, most of the time the author has a specific audience in mind. And there's many things that can affect that audience. And so some of these things are gender. Lots of ads are either addressed to women or men, ethnicity, race, cultural experiences, sexuality, wealth. And think about this, because whenever we look at magazines, if we have a more high-end magazine, I'm thinking like not that high-end, but like Forbes or Esquire, a lot of times their advertisements are going to be for things that are products that are a little bit more expensive. So I keep that in my mind as well. And then the place of publication. And you might say, why is that important? Well, if I look at, like I said, 17 magazine, I don't know if y'all even remember that or if it even exists anymore, but 17 magazine was this great magazine for teenage girls. And so if I knew that my ad came from 17 magazine, I could probably really, really easily say my audience was teenage girls, maybe even tween-age girls. I think that's why I think it's really, really important that you have a magazine. Okay? Okay, and the purpose. Okay, so again, the purpose for an advertisement is always to sell you a product. But almost always there's going to be multiple purposes. And so obviously they're going to sell you a product, but are they going to try to make you be a loyal customer? And that's more than selling a product. Are they trying to sell you a lifestyle? And if they do try to sell you a lifestyle, it makes things kind of different, right? It's saying, I want you to buy my product and I want you to buy it forever. And that's way more important than just making you buy one little product, right? Okay, and so I want to look at this ad, and I want to look at the author and the audience and the purpose. So when I look at this ad, I know immediately that my author is who? Even though it's not listed anywhere, it's Apple. Why do I know that? Because I can see it from the brand, I can see it from the product. And so if I were going to do a rhetorical analysis and I was going to look at author, audience, purpose, then I would say Apple is the audience, and what we know about them is they are a manufacturer and retailer of electronic goods, maybe one of the leading electronic retailers in America, dare I say it, the world. And so really these are things that I know about Apple without having to look them up, okay? And we could say they're a computer company. It's basically what you know about them. Okay, and so my audience, my students are very often torn about who they think this audience is. Some people say, well, you've got a pink background, so clearly it appeals to women. Fine, I'll take it, whatever. If we knew what magazine it came from, we would definitely have an easier time. And then I also have heard that people say women are the audience because women want to be this woman. Some people have argued that no, it's men because we have this woman here and they want to have her in their lives. And so I think it's torn, but I want you to think about analysis. As long as you can back up your ideas, you're not wrong. And so one of the great things that I want to add to this one is if we look at race, my students always have some idea about the race of this one. And I'm going to tell you, I think the racial audience of this group is very, very open. I think Apple did a great job with this because we have just this silhouette of a human here. We don't know if this person is, we don't know what race that person is. So I think they do a great job at making this kind of appeal to many different races and some ethnicities as well. And so youth might be something they're selling here. I don't know that this is to the young because maybe as an older person like myself, I might see this person and say, wow, this person looks so happy and young and spirited. I'd like to be like her. And if I buy this Apple product, then I can be like this person. Okay? And so purpose obviously is to sell an iPod. But then I look at a couple other things here, and I'm going to move this just a little bit. I look at a couple other things here, and I think they're trying to sell Apple. And I think probably the biggest thing that I see here is works with Mac or PC. They make sure that PC users know that they can use this product as well. That's what I'm talking about when I'm trying to say they're trying to sell all of Apple. So this product works with your PC. But you might get that Apple and you'll realize you love it, and then the next computer you get, it's going to be an Apple. So these are what I'm thinking about when I think purpose. And so this video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to stop it here and y'all can take that information in, and I'll move on in a second. Okay, bye you guys.